What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of What's New. Let's see how I want to start this. Well, it's kind of a heavy subject to talk about. It's been, a few years. But today is the day, so I want to talk about it. Yeah, a little heavy, but yeah, try to get through this. About 5 years ago, as most wrestling fans know, today, a wrestler by the name of Chris Benoit murdered his family and killed himself the night of Champions 2007. That event pretty much changed the entire base of professional wrestling and made the change pretty much, what we were used to. Things that you would see in the Attitude Era and things that people complain about that they don't see is probably, not saying everything, this event changed everything, because things happened before that, wrestlers' death before that kind of influenced too, but this was the event that pretty much said, no, we got to stop the headshot, stop the bleeding, and the gruesome bleeding and everything that had to change, and because of this, as you guys know, like I said, really hard to talk about, because Chris Benoit was one of my favorites to watch on in the WWE, and it was really hard to find that out. 5 years ago, when I watched Monday Night Raw, to find out that he was gone, because just a few years prior, we lost another great wrestler by the name of Eddie Guerrero, which is one of Chris Benoit's best friends, and one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So it was really hard, sitting there that night after Vengeance. It was weird at Night of Champions to see that Chris Benoit did not show up. So you kind of thought that something was up, that night. But I'm pretty sure nobody thought. Well, everybody was probably thinking he missed his flight or something like that. But nobody in their right mind would think that something that gruesome, something like that shocking would happen, especially to Chris Benoit. I was definitely thinking about, something that happened to him. You think of guys, not saying that it's bad to think of people that way, but guys who really had a lot of drug problems. You would think something really bad happened to a Jake the Snake or a Scott Hall, knowing that they're past like that, and it probably wouldn't be as shocking. Not, God forbid, that happened to any of them, but something like that. But this is a guy that you were just watching. That Tuesday face Elijah Burke in a match on ECW, and then a few days after that, Sunday, he's gone. And then the next night, it got even more shocking. The night after, the Monday night after that, when they found out what really happened, that he committed suicide and killed his family, it kind of tears something from you, knowing that a wrestler that you respected did something like that to his family. And it's this thing that's been debated for years now, ever since it happened. Like, some people, don't like to think of him in that way, but it did happen. He did murder his family. This point blank. No telling if people say that it was his mind from all the chair shots and abuse for his body that led him to doing so. Which it could have been a possibility. They said that his brain, when they did the scan of his brain, that it was pretty much it was like an old man's brain, like a 90-year-old guy with Alzheimer's brain. But Yeah, I mean, we all know that Chris took a lot of abuse, and you can't really blame WWE for changing their policies on what they did, and pretty much this event also led up to the PG era in professional wrestling, well, for WWE at least. Which you really can't blame. I know a lot of people, like I was one of those people who, man, saying, why can't they have chair shots? Why don't they show that much blood? Why don't they, do this stuff anymore? But it's understandable. You got to keep your talent healthy, so nothing like that would ever, try to prevent stuff like that from happening ever again. I mean, really, would you want them to keep taking all this damage, straight chair shots to the head, and end up getting concussions and abusing the body, and their life gets cut short because they're either handicapped or gone, or just in a bad place in their life. They go on the road 365 days a year, and with pretty much no break times, and the stress levels, and they have the stress and just the abusive nature that they have on their bodies. They never have time to rest. And I feel that's one thing that led to Chris Benoit, doing this. And then also Eddie Guerrero, his best friend, that was just even more stress right there. And with that, and the abuse they took on his body, was just too much. So I can't blame the wellness policy for changing, and WWE cracking down on drugs and stuff, because that probably has something to do with it too. Because we know Benoit was taking steroids and stuff as well. So with that, with the roid rage and the head damage and the stress, a man would snap, and I feel that he was at his limit, and it broke. It was a glass of water. It was filling up to the top, and finally the water just fell over the glass and ran down, and the man snapped. It's sad to say that. It's sad to see a guy so talented, man. Chris Benoit was so talented. See his life just go that way, man. See that it just end such a screwed up way. That the fact it is so sad to say that you can't. I mean, oh man, I'm getting my words twisted up. But you can't remember him in the way that you remember, an Eddie Guerrero or a Mr. Perfect, because they didn't kill another person. They didn't commit suicide. So you can still see them in such a light, and in such a in a good way, and remember them in a good way. But every time you think about a Chris Benoit, you think about how great a wrestler he was, but at the same time, you think about, man, he was a murderer, man. It's wow, what a great wrestler, what a fantastic talent. But then you see murder comes hand in hand with it, and it's hard to still deal with that today. And I know a lot of people still having a hard time dealing with that. And for a while, it was kind of hard to watch wrestling. You were afraid something like that would happen again. And man, I just remember just sitting there that night after Vengeance and seeing, in memory of Chris Benoit, and I lost my appetite. I remember I was about to eat I was super hungry, and I was about to eat a foot-long sub, and I lost my appetite. I did not eat that night because one of my favorites was gone. Again, 2 years prior to Eddie, he was gone. And then next night, you just figure out that what else happened to him, what else he did just made it even worse. So, you can't even blame WWE for cracking down on what they did, with the wellness policy and, the drug testing. They gotta do what they gotta do, man. And you can't blame people for guys like, people get upset for people like Chris Jericho and The Rock and such taking breaks. But I think they need that, it sounds messed up, but to stay sane, man, after traveling that long and taking, abuse and all that. I think they need those breaks, man, really do, to keep them in check, to keep their mental state in check, because it could lead to their downfall. They lost a they lost a veteran, a leader of the locker room, man. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody. And now he's gone in 5 years. It's been 5 years since that, and it's hard to see his stuff erased from history, man. This right here is one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time, and I wanted Chris Benoit to become the World Heavyweight Champion, and that happened. And at the end of this show, two of my favorite superstars, Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, celebrating the ring as the champions of both shows. And it was probably one of the most emotional endings to a WrestleMania ever. And now, what is it, 2004? Now it's 2012, and either one of them are here because of the stress of the business. And they can't even show this moment anymore because WWE doesn't try to promote Chris Benoit. They add him to stuff when they need to, but they will not promote him in any way. But yeah, man, it sucks, and then 5 years later, it still sucks, and it's really hard to and I keep rambling, but to try to you can't celebrate his death. Like, you can't say rest in peace Benoit, because what he did, he killed his family. Like, what can you say? I mean, I like to still think of him, though, like, as a fan of wrestling, as that great performer, as putting on top matches against great talents like Eddie, Brock, Kurt, so many guys, man. And I don't know. I'm hoping that nothing like that, like what happened that day, ever happens again in professional wrestling. Because it really does suck to see such a talent, his legacy, not only his life, but his legacy is just cut down. It's depleted. It's like it doesn't even exist in the WWE. It sucks really, really bad. But yeah, I just want to talk to you guys about that. It is the 5-year anniversary since that happened. And yeah, so subscribe, comment, rate, and talk to you guys later. Alright.